Taking the ride on the Freedom Train podcast series. I am your host, Joseph Ward, and as always, ride with me is my homies, Mr. Patrick Irvin and Mr. Jamie Bashan. Remember, the Freedom Train is sponsored by PAX Inc. That's PACTSINC. And PAX Inc. is a black advocacy organization aimed at developing the black community to its maximum potential through a focus on education and economics with a trace of hard work, honesty, and integrity. And for more information, make sure you visit www.pactinc.org. That way you can get more in-depth information about the organization. And while you're on the website, make sure you click on the tab that says the code. That way you can go and explore the codes of conduct that are created by PAX Inc. And these codes are codes of black social engineering that will help black America work more as a cohesive unit. So make sure you check that out. Also, while you're online, make sure you visit our Freedom Train website at www.freedomtrainradio.com to learn more about me and Pat. Forget Jamie, no, I'm just playing, but learn more about me, Pat, Jamie, and all your guests on the Freedom Train. Subscribe to the Freedom Train on the Google Play Music and iTunes. Make sure you subscribe to the Freedom Train on Google Play Music and iTunes. That way you get episodes coming straight to your phone. Like our Freedom Train Facebook page, and also follow the Freedom Train on Instagram and Twitter at on Instagram at Freedom Train Network and Twitter at Freedom Train Net. Fellas,
what it do?
What it look like?
What it is?
I'm not black, I'm OJ.
Okay.
And I ain't washed my body for 40 days. Ooh.
Ooh. And then Sammy Sosa looked like somebody painted him eggshell white.
Yo, Sammy looks like he's been embalmed, man. Sammy's a motherfucking mummy. Like, that dude is not human. He's a fucking mummy, man.
Hey, man, I'm listening to ESPN radio. Buddy on the radio say he looked like a... they put 3 pictures up on him on the internet, and it looked like one of the Metropolitan ice creams went like from brown to white to pink. Like Sammy Sosa looked like a little piglet now.
Man, Sammy looks like a goddamn. Look like he got straight up out the casket. That's what he looks like.
Sammy Sosa and Lil Kim are the poster couple for black self-hate.
Yeah, fuck up couple. That good.
Hey, what's gonna kill the kids though? What's gonna kill the kids? They gonna go back and look at them old home run races him and Mark McGwire had in the '90s and be like, hey, who the hell is that Mark McGwire having home run chase with? Like, that's a black dude. They like Sammy Sosa. Nah, that ain't Sammy Sosa. Sammy Sosa pink. That's a black dude right there. Like, nah, bruh. I'm telling you that, Sammy. Nah.
I'm motherfucking fuchsia right now. Like, Sammy looks bad, man. I don't know. Like, and I don't want to talk about it because dude might have a condition. He, like, might be sick or something. I don't know.
Man,
maybe he ain't telling us.
Sammy, man, come on, Jamie.
Nah, it ain't that much skin bleaching in the world. What is he trying to be transparent? Like, that's the next step at this point. See-through.
Jamie, a week after Sammy Sosa retired from baseball, he turned eggshell white.
Nah, yo, the next color for him is just transparent. People gonna be able to see his lungs and everything. Like, that dude he's about to be clear.
Let's look like one of them underworld characters right now, man. Well, that's real, man. But the self-hatred is real, man. But that's one of the biggest issues in our community. And, you know, talking about self-hatred and lack of self-identity and all these things. Not necessarily to try to jump into the fray and jump on the bandwagon of what other people are talking about, because of course we always try to come from different perspectives. But this Jay-Z, the 444 album, I haven't heard the album, so I can't talk about the album. But I have heard the Story of O.J. song and saw the video. I just want to kind of get, Pat, I guess we'll start with you, kind of get your thoughts on the video, then Jamie, then we'll swing it back around to me, but kind of get y'all thoughts on the video and what y'all thought about the message. But me particularly, not necessarily the whole song, because I don't have an issue with the whole song, but like the OJ part though, you know, and some of the stuff. Like, how did you? Well, what are your? Well, let me not try to put it in the box. What did you think about it, Pat?
I mean, I think you gotta separate the video from the song. So like the video was filled with symbolism. You know, there was a lot going on in the video in terms of the way it was drawn, the scene, the colors, everything like that. You know, the video definitely had a lot to decipher and could generate a whole lot of conversation in terms of, you know, the image that black people have had and still had, and a lot of respects and various other things of that nature. The song itself, I mean, you know, like I said before the show started, I think I was kind of tainted by the hype. I'm not a super Jay-Z lover, let me go ahead and say that for the record. But, you know, I will admit he makes some nice songs. So, you know, I'm going in and everybody's talking about, you know, this is one of the pro-black anthem, and this is one of the deepest songs that I've ever seen, and blah, 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 and this has to be on the top 5 greatest black songs list and all that. So I'm going in hyped, expecting something real. And then, you know, I'm listening to the song and I'm just waiting for it to get there. And it kind of never got there for me. So, you know, he had some nice little pointers in there about how to take $1 million and turn it into $2 million, and, you know, some decent lines about how to take $2 million and turn it into 25, and some decent lines about business and economics, especially from his individual perspective. I didn't see any real reference to how somebody like myself could go from having $0 to having $1 million to turn to $2 million, to turn to 4, to turn to 8.
Without selling drugs.
Without selling drugs and doing other things that are harmful to the community. And I didn't see a whole lot in there about breaking things down on a communal level, on a community-based level, in terms of community economics and things like that. And then some of the other things I saw, you know, while they could be translated if we wanted to stretch it, in my opinion, it would be just that, a stretch. So in my opinion, you know, I'm not saying Jay wasn't dropping knowledge. You know, if you want some basic knowledge that you should pretty much already know anyway as an adult, about how to take $5 and turn it into $6, or take $1 million and turn it into 2, and I'm assuming if you got $1 million, you know how to get 2. You know, beyond little things like that, I just, you know, I think people are looking for something, and they've kind of assigned this song to that status. I don't know. I wasn't impressed. I mean, the video was impressive. The lyrics to the song, I wasn't impressed. I wasn't moved. It didn't rock with me. and to clarify real quick, look, I'm not ignorant to history, because that's one of the first things people are going to say. I'm not ignorant to business. I'm not ignorant to economics. Like, I'm familiar with all of those things. The fact of the matter is, the shit he was saying was very simple and superficial and very common. So I just wasn't moved. Like, it wasn't groundbreaking for me. It wasn't on that level. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, David Banner been screaming that shit for like the last 3 years. But, you know, never. But, hey. Go ahead, Jamie. What you think?
All right, so mine's a little bit different. I'll start off with this. For anybody that says this is like some pro-black album, this, that, and other, that person's an idiot. Don't listen to him. I'll say that for number one. Because if you go in and you listen to this album with that perception, you will walk away unimpressed, like Pat was. Overall, this album, I think this is the most introspective album he's made since Volume 1. If you actually listen to this album, like the Story of O.J. is probably not even one of my favorite songs on the album. I could do away with that one. To me, that's just a dope single to get everybody attracted to the rest of the album. But if you actually break down the album, you listen to what Jay-Z's saying, a lot of it is just about accountability. Like, he really goes in on himself in this album, dissecting himself piece by piece, calling out himself on his own bullshit and stuff like that, telling a lot of stories, giving a lot of insight into his personal life that most of us aren't even privy to. So to me, when I listen to the album, it reminds me of that Volume 1 Jay-Z. You know, he had the joint Faith Evans on there telling the story how he shot his brother. Like, he talks about his mother coming out of the closet on this album, his relationship with Beyonce, you know, kids. And if anybody want to really, like, the story of O.J., I don't know why it's getting so much attention when there's so much better songs on that album than that one. That's, to me, is probably the bottom two on the album. You got Marcy Me on there. That song's long. I can imagine myself in 10 years arguing with my daughter, like, hey, she playing on some little music in her age, and I'm like, yo, that ain't real hip-hop. This some real music. And I'll play Marcy Me, because that song right there, that's probably, it's going to age so well. When we go back to it, that's going to be a classic. But I hate everybody's focusing on the story of O.J. when there's so many better songs on this album. Overall, it's a great album. Story of O.J. song, just to kind of pay attention to that one in a second, it was very simplistic. You got to understand who Jay-Z is. Jay-Z will give you 101 bars, but Jay-Z's always had a knack for dumbing his stuff down so where people can understand it. So he dumbed a lot of things down in that song, and because he's such a mainstream artist, he's married to goddamn Beyonce, for crying out loud, anything he says, people are going to take it and multiply it times 100. So people who really don't aren't conscious of their surroundings at all, they're you know, this was like bright light shit to them. Like, this amazed them. But to, you know, people who actually are conscious, who understand their surroundings, who understand, you know, some of the simplest shit that he was talking about on that song, we're not impressed by it. I just look at it as a song. I didn't even look at it as some black tribute, this, and whatever nonsense. So to me, I'm a fan of Jay-Z, so I might be biased. I thought the album was super dope. I don't know why everybody's paying attention to the story of O.J. It's really not that great of a song. It's better songs on the album, so I'll stay with that.
All right, now, me, first of all, I don't think Jay-Z is that damn deep, me personally.
He can be. He can be.
Hey, Jay, to me, I'm just saying, I'm gonna be real, like, I've listened to a lot of Jay-Z. Like, I like to listen to rappers talk. Like, I want to see how smart you are. Like, I want to, like, Jay-Z is slick. Jay-Z has one of his greatest assets is his gift of gab. Jay-Z can say nothing very well, and that's what he does a lot. He says nothing very. He can give it to you in a way that you can imagine a vivid story in your head, but he still ain't saying shit. And I think that's what people get caught up into the I guess you could say the flair. He throws some pixie dust in your face or whatever you want to call it, and you pay attention to that. You're not really getting down deep into it because, like the stuff that Jay-Z is saying in that song, like Dr. Claude Anderson has been saying since the 1970s. And so, to me, on one end, that shows that we got a problem in our damn community. Like, if Jay-Z is the one that make people say, well, maybe we should put our money together and work, we've lost. It's over. Because if that's what you want, because he had one line in the song, I was paying attention. He was talking about taking your money and buying up your block, right? Now, one of the main things you hear people from his community saying is what? He don't use his money to help his people in his block that he grew up. So, I mean, I hear you, Jay. And I'm listening, but I don't. Me personally, I don't think he that deep. And then to me, and not necessarily to harp on, and not saying it's a big thing, but people are. A lot of the commentary around that song is surrounding O.J. Simpson. All I'm saying about that part and that line is the dope man can't call out the dude who. Cause well, I'm just asking y'all what's worse. I asked Pat earlier, but I'm gonna ask you, Jamie. What's worse to the community? The black athlete who pretends like he's not black, or the black drug dealer who becomes a rapper and still rap about selling drugs for 20 years?
I'm going to say the goddamn internet scammers for that C. I hate those fucking bastards. They're worse than drug dealers. I fucking hate internet scammers. Oh, try this, really? Fuck you guys. But anyway, my bad. I went off on a tangent there.
No, I mean, because and let me say this. My thing for saying that is not if that's where the conversation is gonna go, if that's where the thought process, and we're gonna go demonizing OJ for being a sellout, which he was, then you got to demonize Jay-Z. You can't give Jay-Z a pass for being a dope man and then rapping about selling dope for 20 years. Like, there's no pass for that. You can't get that. All right, Story of Jay-Z is next then, right?
Yeah, he addresses that on the album. His own contradictions, how he mislead the youth. And he kind of gets into it. Here's the thing with Jay-Z, man. Jay-Z is like, when you say the word hustler, I think Jay-Z embodies that. Of course he ain't all this shit he was and said this, and other. But he had, like you said, he has a gift of gab. He knows how to sell records, X, Y, and Z. He knows how to make a hot song, etc., etc. So I just look at it from a musical standpoint. I refuse to look at it from anything other than music. Like, I get what everybody's saying, the cultural references, that I get that. But when I listen to like a Jay-Z, when I listen to music, I try to listen to it like I would hear, like I would read poetry or listen to the opera and classical music. I just try to enjoy the music and how it makes me feel. Now, once you take it out of that concept, yes, absolutely right, Joe. This dude sold, he shot his own fucking brother and he sold crack. Like, come on, you ain't gonna really, okay, you made it big, but X, Y, Z. So I get the references, but when I look at it, it's hard for me to look at it anything past music. I just train my mind to do that. Because once you look at it past music, we know half these rappers ain't selling no drugs. Like, come on, man. These dudes ain't never sold drugs. If they sold drugs like they really did, they would be in jail or dead by now. Like, have these dudes rapping about lives that aren't existed. But I get the contradiction. You can't call one out and doesn't the other. I get
Yeah, well, that's all I'm saying on that is if you're gonna try to call OJ out on his, then you actually don't have a leg to stand on. But at the same time, I do think that we have to be real with ourselves and understand that it is more than just music to a lot of people.
Agree.
And it's more than entertainment. And remember, the community that it hurts the most is ours. The community that divides the most is ours. Like I'm before you got on, I was talking to Pat, and I'm trying to find the link and send it to y'all. But I'm watching the video on YouTube yesterday of this father and his son who was critiquing the Jay-Z's video, and the son came, like, the conclusion of the video, the son came away with, well, I don't even know how they got to it, but the son came to the conclusion that it's okay for white people to call black people niggas, and he said it's okay to get for a white person to call you a nigga as long as there's an A on the end and not an ER, because and people are so. All right, well let me just say this for y'all people who stupid out there, and yes, for you stupid people, if you don't like it, don't be stupid. But white Southern slave owners said nigga because they white Southern slave owners. White Northern slave owners said nigger because they're white Northern slave owners. Nigga isn't new. Black people did not invent nigga. That is not a term of endearment. Nigga is only a country-ass way of saying nigger. So I'm telling all you white folk who listen, all you black people with white friends and all you white folk who listen, I'm just saying for me, period. You call me an ER or A, I'm going to kick you dead in your face. There's no difference. And y'all black folk better get on it. Nigga is not a term of endearment. All that means is your ass is pronouncing it like you're from the South. White slave masters said nigga. Now I'm saying that because I don't know how, but this is the conclusion that the son came away from his commentary with his father about the video. Now, the father was on the other side saying, well, we shouldn't say this and say that, and the father was kind of like, critiquing it because the father has years and kind of looking through some of the bull. But the father's takeaway from it was, well, black people need to strive to be better Americans. And I'm like, well, you crazy as hell too, because you telling black people to work on being better Americans is the same thing as telling a woman who's in an abusive relationship to go home and work it out.
I mean, I just don't. And Jamie, the way Jamie looks at it is probably the best way to look at it. To me, this song doesn't provide enough content for those level of conversations. I mean, the hook is basically him saying nigga 32 times with a different word in front of it. I mean, so I just don't see this song is having that much in it in terms of content.
Right.
For us to really even be talking about it on this level, and you know, Jamie, that probably is the way we need to be looking at all songs until they transcend that viewpoint. There have been some songs out there where, you know, just like poetry, typically you enjoy poems. I enjoy poems. I listen to them all the time. But every now and then, you'll hear a poem that transcends just being a poem. You know, a poem that becomes a certified message because of the content and the emotion and everything else is jammed into it. This song, in my opinion, doesn't have enough of anything to warrant this type of conversation. I mean, okay, you could take the hook and have some sort of conversation, light nigga, dark nigga, fake nigga, real nigga, rich nigga, poor nigga, house nigga, field. You can do something. You can have a nice little 2 or 3 second conversation about that. You know, well, no matter what, you're still a nigga. Yeah, that's true. All right, conversation over. But the rest of this shit that we got going on behind this song, you know what's more important than throwing away money at a strip club? Credit. Wow, thanks, Jay-Z. That is life-altering advice. I never would have thought that.
You're an idiot.
But here's the thing, though. Jay-Z is so mainstream. He's transcended, like, the hip-hop culture, the street culture he's come from. This dude is a world, international icon. True. So even him saying that simplistic line, which clearly if you don't know credit is important by now, you're just dumb. Like, we know that. But, I mean, there are a lot of dumbass people out there who actually hear this and it's like, oh, man, credit's more important than throwing my money at a strip club. Of course it is. But it's just Jay-Z has a way of saying, like, he has that gift to gab. He has a way of saying things. And his level of popularity is what makes people go, oh, you know, gasp and because it's really not a new concept. There's nothing, you know, profound or anything like that. True. It's common goddamn sense, what it really is.
True. No, and I think you're 100%. Well, I do think Jamie's 100% on point when he says that a lot of this is fueled by his popularity. We saw the same thing when Beyonce did her thing, like last year or the year before last or whatever, where everybody was losing their fucking mind about her Lemonade video and then about her Super Bowl performance. And those of us that are actually involved in that, study this shit and that pay attention, were kind of like, it was nice, but don't make more out of it than what it really is. You know, it's kind of the same thing happening right now.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, to me, I think that the damaging part or the bad part that all of this shows, it's not necessarily, and there's not nothing that Jay-Z did. It's the community, like, right. Like if you, the black, this is not at. Remember, this is not at Jay-Z, but I do stand by any statements that I said because I don't think he's that deep. I still don't. But the uproar is not Jay-Z's fault. It's the community's fault.
No,
because the community act like okay, well, since he said it, Because as a matter of fact, I was listening to something, and the dude literally said, "What the hell?" Well, now since Jay-Z said it, I guess people gonna start getting their money right now. Because remember, Jay-Z was the one that told people to take off their throwbacks. But listen, think about that. That means our community is doomed. That means we are clearly doomed if we're waiting on Jay-Z to give us instructions on what the hell we supposed to do when you got people every day giving you information on what you can do to help your condition. All you got to go to is YouTube. There's so much free information that our black scholars, people who have dedicated their lives to studying and practicing these things. And I understand Jay-Z is popular. But popular doesn't mean community. That, okay, we should hang on to his every word. Ain't y'all the same people who ain't supposed to be worshiping or be like having idols and stuff like that? Ain't that in some of their books and stuff? But, I mean, no.
No, I mean, I agree with you, though, Joe, and that's the point that I meant to bring up that I just forgot, thinking about the you know, because like I said, I got these lyrics in front of me, and I'm just looking at them, just kind of chuckling to myself as I'm looking at the lyrics and comparing them to some of the comments and some of the things that were said to me. And again, it's not that the lyrics are bad. You know, the lyrics are, you know, they're decent. They're okay. You can definitely get something out of them. Like my thing is, if you're a 25 and older adult and this is your first time hearing anything that he said in this song, then you know your community and your family has failed you. But
no, I mean, go back to Trick Daddy's America song. That's deep, way deeper than this.
But
way deeper than this.
But I mean, the fact of the matter is, and I do feel like 100%, like I said, I'm not a Jay-Z fan by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not a Jay-Z hater either. But so, you know, my comments are not directed at Jay-Z as a person. I'm definitely looking at the community when I say the things that I say. You know, it's definitely a conversation, in my opinion, that's geared towards the community. Like, I don't understand why we as a people, as a culture group, as a community, are so easily excited by celebrities giving us representative victories or moral victories or you know, whatever sort of fake-ass superficial victory that they want to give us. But then at the same time, when people on the ground level are actually trying to do real things, we're heavily critical of them. You know what I'm saying? So the entire conversation from a communal standpoint, to me, is frustrating. Even the fact that we have to have a show talking about a song called The Story of O.J. that's really only got one line that references O.J. Simpson in the whole fucking
so it's
song.
Clickbait off top.
You know what I'm saying? And again, it's not a shot against Jay-Z. Jay-Z doing what he does. This is what fucking Jay-Z does. He does things that gets people talking. Regardless of how you feel about him, he is very good at staying relevant and keeping his name on people's tongues. And the song, again, is not the greatest song in the world, but it's really not a bad song. I just don't think it's worth all of the praise and all of the other things that it's getting. Like, it's not that great to me.
Because I listened to it again earlier today, and I mean, he's saying some good stuff, and it's just, my thing is, it's not that deep. And if this is especially if you're an adult, I could see if I was 17 or 16 or 15, but even in that means your parents have failed you in those departments. Like, why don't the adults know this, and why aren't the adults teaching this to their children? Like, it's important. I shouldn't find out about credit when I'm 30. Like, god damn.
Hey, here's one thing about that that's kind of fucked up. Jay-Z did. He might not have knew he was doing it at the time, but O.J. is up for parole here pretty soon, and guess who's the headline? He's got a goddamn song with the N-word in it 800 goddamn times. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of a bad look, Jay-Z. O.J. might not get parole because of that song. That's fucked up.
I mean,
I'm just saying, like, I thought about that the other day. I was just like, damn, this dude up for parole, and Jay-Z dropped a whole song called The Story of O.J.
But see, I mean, that's my thing, though. Like, if you're gonna call it The Story of O.J., and, you know, start off with, well, O.J. don't know O.J. over there trying to pretend like he ain't black. Yeah, but you sold drugs to the community. What you did was worse. Shut your ass up.
Yeah. See your point there.
No, you definitely got a point.
I mean, I'm just saying, because when I first, that probably was my first thought that popped in my head when I first heard the song. Like, sat down and digested it. I was like, well, ain't you the dope man?
Well, I'll be honest, like, my first thought was just disappointment because my hopes were so high for it because of what everybody had said. So my first thought was like, this is it? Like, you know, like, I want my money back. And then I had to remember I'm listening to it on YouTube. I ain't pay no money. But I mean, you know, like, I did go and look up some of the interviews that he did, and he talked about the song being about how us as a culture, we need to have a plan and we need to push it forward, and how we need to utilize our money properly, and this, that, and the third. And even that did kind of tip me a little bit more, because in terms of the song, I can't dismiss it as just a song. But if you want to talk about, like, what you're actually saying and what you actually believe, now I get to the point where I'm like, okay, O.J., I need to see something now, soon, You know, otherwise you're going to get pushed in the Umar box because you and your wife got enough money to reshape an entire region of the country in terms of the black community. So I need to see more from you than a couple $1,500 scholarships and a company that employ a whole bunch of white people that you're trying to get black people to purchase from under the guise that it's a black-owned company. I need to see a little bit more from you than that. But if we just stick it to the song, if we just keep it to the song, I really don't have no beef with Jay-Z in terms of the song. My beef is with the community and their response to it, acting like it's the great. They act like we haven't had a Dr. Clark or a Dr. Ben or a Dr. Amos Wilson or you know, like we haven't had these major historical people, historians that we've had. And then even on top of that, they act like we haven't had artists like a Pharoah Monch or Talib Kweli or Mos Def or Common Sense back before he lost his sense and just became old common ass, regular ass rapper. Or you know what I'm saying? Back, you know, like they act like we haven't had these hip hop artists